Hi, welcome to Destination Hoth, your source for Star Wars information. And I'm one of your hosts, Daddy Ritz. I'm alongside with
Deadeye Dave.
Deadeye Dave?
Jedi Dave.
We're keeping this one. Deadeye Dave is holding it down here on Destination Hoth with your source for your Star Wars information. We're two old guys who sit down in a canteen and we talk about Star Wars and drink blue milk.
In a cantina.
In a cantina?
Yeah.
I said canteen.
The canteen is like those little round things you carry water in. You trek through the desert.
You see how tired we're doing this like later on, late in the night. So his head's
really
up.
Late.
So
we both worked all day. Do you remember like what Canteen Boy?
Yes,
yes. Canteen Boy with Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler, Canteen Boy.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be canteen. We're gonna go canteen. Cantina Boy, which
once again, we start off by telling jokes of each other, and no, I'm joking. We start off the show with what's new in Star Wars, where we give you stuff that we talk about with news in comic books, in movies, in TV, in anything new in Star Wars, and movies, anything new in Star Wars. We talk about that. And we'll get into a lot of conversations about different thoughts we have about Star Wars. Because we're real fans. We don't hate on people who don't like Star Wars the same way we like Star Wars. We give everyone an open mind, and we give you a place where you can, voice your opinion. So today's show, we are going to be touching on two things. First thing we're going to touch on is the death of Darth Vader himself. The actor who did put on the costume has passed away, so we're going to touch on that. And with Dave, we have a great story to tell. And then after that, we'll get into the review for Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 6? I think it's 6.
Episode 6?
Yeah, Episode 6.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely.
Episode 6. So we're going to get into that today, and we have lots to talk about because it's great stuff to talk about. So let's get into our first topic right now, right away. Let's get into the death of the actor who was in the Darth Vader costume, who you actually met, right, Dave?
Absolutely.
Go right
ahead.
So,
like, I was going to just, honestly, whenever I think of David Prowse, I think, like, in 1979, I watched the Star Wars film for the very first time, right? So, like, it first came out in 77. I was only 3 years old. But back in the day, before you could just go to video stores and rent stuff and things like that.
There's video stores back in those days?
Video stores. So what you would have is, like, they would show movies on television, right? So the very first time I watched Star Wars, it wasn't on the big screen with surround sound and CGI.
Yeah.
It was actually on a small 13-inch television in the living room, right? So no matter how tiny those images were or how many characters were missing from every shot, the one thing that I easily understood right away was Darth Vader was the greatest villain I had ever seen, right? From the point that he comes in with that menacing way that he steps through the doorway of the Tantive 4, in the way that he lifted the rebel officer off his feet and choked him to death. You know what I mean? So we knew that Vader was a force to be reckoned with at that point. The man that wore that costume, the man that intimidated us with every move was David Prowse. And Prowse was just a quick kind of recap. Prowse was born in Bristol, England in 1935. He became a bodybuilder and then an actor. He appeared in such films as Vampire Circus and Jabberwocky. And, of course, Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. He played the bodyguard, actually, for the wealthy guy. And then, of course, he gained the attention of George Lucas at that point. So I have a quote here. George Lucas was quoted as saying once that David brought a physicality to Darth Vader that was essential to the character. He made Vader leap off the page and onto the big screen with an imposing stature and movement performance to match the intensity and undercurrent of Vader's presence. David was up for anything and contributed to the success of what would become a memorable, tragic figure, right? So more than 10 years ago, I actually did have the privilege of meeting David Prowse at Fan Expo Canada. He was engaging, he was kind, he understood the importance of the character of Darth Vader to all of us, right? So he saw himself as Darth Vader. He didn't downplay the character. I remember there was like so many stories of Alec Guinness who kind of didn't enjoy the fact that he was considered Obi-Wan Kenobi. He liked the other aspects of his career. Well, David Prowse very much loved the fact that people saw him as Darth Vader. He actually signed my picture. David Prowse is Darth Vader. He didn't like anyone else being considered to be Darth Vader. He was Darth Vader. So in this past week, of course, on November 28th, we did lose Mr. Prowse at the age of 85. And of course, as a Star Wars fan, losing members of any cast of Star Wars is like losing a family member. And of course, we love Star Wars. We love every person that helped make it a reality for us. And David Prowse, even though it was behind a mask, will forever be the face of the Star Wars saga.
That is awesome, and it's so true. Like, now I did watch some documentaries where he did get in some issues with Disney, claiming that he was Darth Vader. They actually banned him from some of the event that Disney would put on. Not Disney. It's just Star Wars. I guess Lucasfilm, I should say.
Like the Star Wars celebrations at the
yeah, he was not allowed to go to any of those, et cetera, et cetera. But once again, you met him, and you said he was just a great personality,
just an exceptional person,
and he was a bodybuilder too. And a little side note, if you didn't know, he actually helped out Superman to get in shape. Christopher Reed.
That's so cool.
He actually hired him to get Christopher Reed into shape to be Superman.
Oh man, dude was ripped back in the day. Like if you ever get a chance to see A Clockwork Orange, he plays the body like he's just this like bodyguard.
Yeah,
and he carries the guy from room to room, and he's lifting a man in every scene. Like you just know George Lucas was looking at that going, I don't even need to use wires. Like he can legit lift people.
Yeah,
and just move them around. I think wasn't the big controversy. I think before Empire Strikes Back came out, I believe that he was in an interview in England, and he kind of let it slip that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father.
I think so too. I think it happened. Yeah,
I think George was not happy about that at all. So when the time came in Return of the Jedi for us to finally see Anakin Skywalker's face, he cast Sebastian Shaw to play the character.
Yeah,
as sort of payback to David Prowse. I think it's like I said. I mean, all of that stuff is just,
yeah, stuff in the past and
political stuff is like it's under the water under the bridge. Like you got to move forward always.
Yeah, and once again, he was a good actor for Darth Vader. He still had to say the lines when they're filming, so
which were hilarious. If you ever get a chance, because Daddy Rich and I have actually seen this before, where you watch like the outtakes before they put James Earl Jones's amazing voice into those scenes.
Yeah,
like it's like you have like this higher pitched British accent from David Prowse. So he's like, you're a part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor, and it's like, and you're just like, oh my, could you like, I think it is one of the greatest duos really.
Yeah.
Is David Prowse's physique, his body, his like 6'4", whatever.
Well, I think they're both tall. Like I think
James Earl
Jones is tall too. So
and then having James Earl Jones's voice, like it took two men to bring Darth Vader to this world.
Yeah,
and like that's what I look at.
And
I mean, we always love Hayden Christensen. I mean, he did a good job.
Good Canadian boy.
Yeah, he's a good Canadian boy. We'll always support Hayden, but like, there's no myth here. We know who Darth Vader is.
Now, if you haven't seen it yet, we have our Instagram page all up. It's Destination Hoth, all one word. And we have a picture of the group of them after filming the first Star Wars, and I'll show it to Mr. Dave right there. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I did see that today.
Yeah, and they are all in ghost forms, and it's kind of cool because you have Carrie Fisher, you have R2-D2, you have Chewbacca, and you have Darth Vader. All together, but they're in blue kind of form. It was just a sad. It's a nice picture, but a sad one because it's
extremely tragic.
There's only two left, eh? Well, other than James Earl Jones, only two left, right? Two.
Well, back in the day too. I mean, you had, I think Alec Guinness. Well, actually, the first person to pass away was
Guinness.
Peter Cushing, who played Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh yes,
he passed away so quickly, and then you had the loss of Alec Guinness after Return of the Jedi, and then I think he died closer into the 90s. I'm not sure, early 90s or late 80s. But over the last 5 years, it just seems like we're losing a lot of amazing talent. We're losing the core, the heart of Star Wars, where we lost Peter Mayhew. We've now lost David Prowse. Of course, the unexpected loss of Carrie Fisher. Yeah. Losing Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2 as well, just before all of those. So, I mean, and I think, was it Tim Rose, I think, who did the voice, or was it the voice or the costume of Admiral Akbar. I think he passed away.
He passed
as well.
away too. I think he was the voice. He was the voice of Admiral Akbar.
So like
It's a trap!
It's a trap. Yeah. So it's just heartbreaking. I mean, like and of course once you get to our age, and you grew up with Star Wars since you were a tiny little kid, like when you lose those people, it's like losing a part of your childhood.
Well,
it really is.
Yeah, because I'm looking at who we have left. We still have James Earl Jones, so we still have the voice of Darth Vader.
For sure.
We still have Mark Hamill. We still have Harrison Ford. We have Billy D. Williams still around. We have C-3PO still around. Jeez, that's
you know what? You
about
have to
it.
be. I'm so happy that Anthony Daniels and Mark Hamill seem to be good to go for another 30 years. You know, because like I don't see those guys going anywhere. Like those guys have energy and
Harrison Ford. I'm just kind of scared if he flies any more planes.
Oh, see, that's why I didn't put Harrison in there. I didn't put Harrison in there because they need to take his pilot's license away. How sad is it that Han Solo can't land a plane? I think that's like when you're living in a world where Han Solo can't land a plane. That's sad. That's a sad world.
All right, we're going to wrap it up right now. So we're going to get into the part of the show that we love to talk about, Mandalorian, and there's lots to talk about. And I got to remind you, it's going to be spoiler heavy, so hold tight for that. So we're going to take a little break. Once again, the canteen is open. We got a new droid working it out. And once again, the Wookiees are back in, and they're still arguing over who's going to pay for this wedding. So... I don't know what's going to happen over there, but stay away from them. Grab a drink. We'll be right back here on Destination Hoth. Let's go. Yes, welcome back to Destination Hoth, your source for Star Wars information, and with two old guys from Canada sitting down with you guys right now, holding it down. And it's now time to get into our reviews of The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 6, directed by...
Robert Rodriguez.
Ooh, Spy Kids.
Yeah, Spy Kids. Is that your go-to movie when you think of Robert Rodriguez?
Well, that and what was the other one? Spy Kids and Grindhouse too. I remember Grindhouse.
The Grindhouse.
Yeah.
At least it's not The Faculty. It's not like you're going, oh, The Faculty. That was like the least Robert Rodriguez movie I've ever seen Robert Rodriguez direct.
Yeah,
was The Faculty. But I think of like Desperado, El Mariachi. Right, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yes, I forgot Dusk Till Dawn.
And then of course most recently Alita, which like
amazing,
Alita Battle Angel.
Amazing movie. I forgot he directed that one. I really forgot.
Yes,
but who produced it? Who produced?
James Cameron. That was
why.
supposed to be a Cameron movie. Yeah.
That's why. Because every time I think of it, I think of James Cameron.
Absolutely.
So,
guys, I gotta say this: if you are an American citizen and you are listening to our podcast today, you should know James Cameron is probably one of the most successful film directors to come out of Canada.
Yeah.
He's from Kapuskasing, Ontario, won the Oscar for Titanic. So he is a fantastic director.
Oh, and he did Terminator and all that stuff too.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to get into it. Today it is now, it's episode 6. We just saw Ahsoka. He brought the little child to the place that he needs to bring him to. And let's start off with the beginning of the episode where he's in the ship flying to this sacred Jedi temple, and he's saying the kid's name, and he's getting a kick out of saying the name because he's like Brute, and he's like, the kid's like, ah, and he's like, he's like, this is awesome, and he's getting a kick out of it, and then he's like, okay, here, give me that. And the kid won't take it. The kid won't give it to him. He's like, "This is good. I'll give it back to you." All right, here, take it. And he's telling him to use his force powers on it, and I love that part. And then he did it, and he's like, "Yeah!" And the kid's like, "Oh!" It's like he scared the kid and everything like that. And it was just so neat to see this bonding with them. And it just made me feel like I doubt that he is going to give up Baby Yoda.
Well, I agree. Like, you know what the funny thing is? I remember last week we were talking about the last episode and how he was kind of setting himself up to lose him when he was like at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, I felt like he was so like a proud dad. And I mean, we're going to get into this a little bit more later on, I think, especially with other aspects of this episode. But one of the things that really I find with this whole season is it's been a father-son season.
Yeah.
It's all about, like, you're watching the rapport and the relationship between Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, and now Grogu, right? So like you see that bond, and like he's so, like, to watch him, he's like so proud. You know what I mean? Like he gets something right, and he's like, "Oh, way to go, kid! You're doing great." But at the same time, though, like he's doubting himself as a father in that whole scene, right? Like he says to him, he's like, "You're so powerful. Like you can be something great. Like you tell him you want to do the Jedi training. Like this is what you want to do." Like he's letting the kid know that he's better than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet he's underestimating what he can bring to the table as a guide, as a father. And it was that opening scene was really emotional. Like it was because you still have that feeling. I mean, like the last time where he was bringing him to the Jedi, you felt there was a potential that this could be the last moment that he has with this child.
Yeah. And you also see another thing I liked about the first scene that they took off when they're in the plane, like in the ship,
The Razor Crest,
in the Razor Crest, and I think that it was just a bonding moment they had. It just felt so right, and once again, it goes back to how he acts with his costume, because you felt that from not seeing any emotion on his face.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You just felt it, like it was like a proud dad, like he did it, and da 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 da. So then the next part, they finally get to the Razor Crest. They got to the Razor Crest. Sorry, they got to Tython, and they landed on the planet. And they're like, well, before they land on the planet, they're like, well, we can't actually land on the planet, but there's nowhere to land on that hill, so we might have to do it with the top down. And they landed. He got his jetpack on, and he took off to the thing. It was so cool to see him like flying through the air with a jetpack. I never saw a jetpack used as so much. Then I saw it in The Mandalorian once he got that jetpack. He's using it every day, and he's like flying off and taking off to the spot.
Were you shocked that they got to Tython so quick?
I thought there was gonna be like another stop, because when you click on the Disney Plus thing, you see a picture of
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune sitting there. You're like,
exactly.
oh, I think you're gonna go back to there, but that didn't happen until later on, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I did kind of think that.
It was weird. Like I had a friend of mine at work who actually had said the same thing. Like he thought that there would be like 2 episodes building up to getting to Tython.
Yeah.
And then it was just an immediate thing. And yet the funny part was I thought, okay, so they're on Tython. Like what really could happen in the third last episode of the season? And yet this whole episode ended up being
whoa, you're jumping ahead.
The biggest episode of the show. But yeah, absolutely. But I mean, like, it was weird because, like, obviously, like, I play Star Wars The Old Republic.
Yeah.
So as a Jedi character, whether you're the Consular or the Knight, you actually start off on Tython. So this planet looked a little bit more barren. Like, it was just this little, I don't know if it's like it looked a little like the Stonehenge type of thing, and it's sitting on top of the mountain. And so Din Djarin sees that and says, "Oh, that's where I got to take you to, kid." And then, like, I love the comment where he constantly kept referring to him as kid, right? Because I remember, like, you were saying this, and I heard a lot of other people saying that they felt Grogu made him look older. He doesn't look like Baby Yoda anymore. Yeah. But then he's constantly saying kid, which I still kind of it brings the child element to that character back.
Well, another part I like is when they finally got to the rock, where he put Baby Yoda down, the kid. He put him down in the thing, and he's like looking around, like, you know, it's like, hey, okay, how does this thing work? How do we kick it? Do we what do we do to get this rock working here? Let's go. He's
maybe there's a control.
There's a control. He put his visor down. He's like, I can't. Like a dad wanted to try to get this kid to do something, you know. So he's sitting there. He's like, okay, we try to figure this out. And then all of a sudden, he started meditating through the force, and started sending this signal out to whoever it is. We do not know yet if he is going to meet someone or not. And then from there, we see something that caught me off guard, that I didn't believe that I will see ever again in my whole life. I don't think Dave ever believed that he would see it. But the Slave One came flying in, and I was like, I was like, it's Slave One just come flying in. It was like unbelievable to see that with, and then we know who's in it, Boba Fett.
Right. Well, it's his ship. It was his dad's ship. It was Jango Fett's ship.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I got so excited, actually. I think my wife started telling me to calm down. I think that's like the worst feeling in the world because it's kind of belittling, you know, where your wife is like, now calm down, like you're the kid or something. But I'm sorry. Like, it's been since Attack of the Clones was the last time we saw that ship in action, right? So that was what, 2002?
Yeah.
2002.
It's been a long time.
Right. So it's like 18 years. Wow. 18 years since Attack of the Clones.
Wow, that's a long time to have that.
That
ship.
is crazy. I never even thought of that because it never appeared again on the Clone Wars. It never appeared again on Rebels.
No, it didn't show up in the Clone Wars either. You're right. Not even Rebels. You're right. It was the only.
So, wow. I think it's 18 years since Attack of the Clones. Man, we're old. Okay, so, but anyway, yeah, so like the to see Slave One for the first time, and it flies in, and of course, like the opening stuff where they show you like the recap. Do you watch the recap before the show?
I try not to sometimes because I feel like it spoils you, but I did watch the recap, and I saw something that I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, very true in this one because they show the end of the one episode last season where Fennec Shand was killed, right?
Yeah.
So in this one, like the when the ship shows up, I'm like, okay, well, she has to have something to do with this show. And so the little flashback segment at the beginning with the recap, it kind of made me think, okay, maybe it's her in that ship. So I had actually kind of lost hope, I guess, or I started putting it in my head. Boba Fett's not in that ship. It's not Boba Fett.
Oh, because
I thought it was Fennec Shand, and then I was wrong and right. I was right and wrong. But yes, so like we see the ship land.
You see the ship land, and all of a sudden you see he's like Mando had to go. It's like, I have to go, kid, and then he left, and the kid's like,
does he? Oh, and then he tries to go after him and gets jolted back.
Oh no, you jumping straight ahead. All right.
Okay, that hadn't happened yet.
I don't think that happened yet, but whatever.
He sees the ship and then he sees someone coming
because he saw the thing going on. And he's like, okay, kid, you have a couple minutes. Let's do this. I'm going to take care of this. And he took off to go see what happened with the ship. He didn't know what it belonged to. And then all of a sudden you see Boba Fett comes out like he's been
in a cloak and carrying a gaffy stick.
Oh, don't get me started with the gaffy stick,
which is the weapon of the Tusken Raiders. I had totally forgotten that was the weapon of the Tusken Raiders. So big props to Daddy Rich, who quickly reminded me. He's like,
okay, quiet. Like, we know you and the Wookiees are getting married. Okay,
that's the gaffy stick. I was like, wow, man, that's cool. I didn't even think about it, but this is the first time we've actually seen it in real action.
Okay, you're jumping ahead. So
okay, I'm sorry. Just so excited, Daddy. It was such an exciting.
All right, so we're at the point where he's talking to Boba Fett. And he's like, I'm not alone. I don't even sound like Boba Fett. I'm not alone. I have. And then we found out that the lady who was injured was still alive because she was.
Fennec Shand.
She was saved by Boba Fett.
Whoa. Now you're jumping ahead. Because that whole scene was a huge moment in Star Wars. Because Boba Fett comes up.
Yeah.
And so he meets up with Boba Fett. Actually, we don't know for sure yet that it's Boba Fett at that point, but he steps forward and Din Djarin kind of holds him in his tracks, and there's sort of a
standoff.
Like he has a blaster out. He has a blaster
out Boba Fett, and she had a blaster on the little one.
But we didn't know about her yet.
No.
So like, and then what happens is like Boba Fett's like, don't even step another inch forward type of thing, and then Boba Fett says, then he goes, he says something to him about I've come for the armor or something, and then Din Djarin's like, you're not getting my armor until you pry it off my cold dead body.
He's like, not your armor.
My armor. I was like, I lost it at that point because that's the defining moment where you now know this is Boba Fett. I haven't come for your armor. I want my armor.
That was awesome.
It's so amazing. I got to tell you, like, Tamir Morrison, who plays Boba Fett, and he played Jango Fett, and he also played the clone
He was also Aquaman in
right, Aquaman's dad. I think he was piloting a boat in Speed 2. I mean, like, he was Abin Sur in the Green Lantern movie.
Oh yeah, he was.
We don't want to mention the movie, but we will mention that he was Abin Sur. I gotta tell you, I am a huge fan of Tamir Morrison. There's like these actors who have now like permeated through Hollywood who are from the Maori culture. So like they're people from New Zealand, they're from Australia, and they're from Hawaii.
Rock.
So like Dwayne Johnson, right? The Rock, Jason Momoa, Tamir Morrison. And like, I don't know what it is about these guys, but they are like actually badasses. So, like they're not acting like badasses. Like, it's like when people get lazy about hiring someone, they're like, we need someone who can portray a badass, or we'll just get someone who actually is a badass. And then they're like, all right, we'll get someone from the Maori culture because you know those guys are gonna rock.
Yeah, and it was fun to see the setup, because he's like, if you point this gun, if you shoot it, or one step further than me, then I'll have my friend up there we'll take out your little.
Well, yeah, because I think he says to him, he's like, he goes, before you even get it, like, I'm wearing Beskar, before you even get a shot off, you're not, I'll tear you apart type of thing. And he's like, I'm not going to shoot you. He's like, she'll shoot the child. And like, and oh man, I was like,
and they were like, oh,
just threaten the baby. And of course, like you don't know with Boba Fett. Like, it's like you have no idea if he's going to be a good guy or he's going to be a bad guy because it is Boba Fett.
Now, I have something to say about that. Now we remember Boba Fett back in the days. He was, bounty hunter and all that stuff. And we saw him a little bit when he was a kid. I was thinking, all right, now bear with my thoughts.
Okay.
Because the Boba Fett that we saw, I'm skipping ahead just a little bit, but the Boba Fett we saw in Mandalorian is not the same badass Boba Fett that we saw in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Now, this is my thinking. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, it might be going off the grid, but here, I was thinking that Boba Fett was high in spice. And because hold on. He's high in spice. He's because he's with Jabba the Hutt. He might be getting some little something from all the other little ladies that are hanging around Jabba the Hutt. Okay. And and then he's like high, so he's not like the Boba Fett. And now he came back. He's now, now he's back to normal, and now he's a badass. That's my thinking, and yeah.
So your theory is that it's the same guy, but the Boba Fett that we saw in like Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back was like stoned all the time.
Yeah,
that's what. So like it's the same guy. Like, you're not saying it's a different person.
No, he was
like. He was kind of wasted out on like spice before.
Yeah, like that guy over there in the corner. Yeah, on spice.
Okay. I'm feeling, is it because of a certain line that happens near the end of this episode?
Not really. I just felt that he like
because that line it did stand out. It stood out.
But you know what I mean. This is my little thing. I'm throwing it out there. If you want to leave a comment at the bottom of our page, feel free to say that Daddy Rich is right, or you can go to our Instagram page, Destination Hoth. Instagram, and I, once again, that's my opinion. But so after we got into that, they kind of came to agreement after seeing some ships come flying in with some stormtroopers, and Absolutely. So they decided.
Can I just say this?
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm not going to shoot down your idea either. I think that there is a chance that you might be right. I'm not going to say you're wrong about the spice thing. It'll be interesting to find out. But yeah, so the ships.
Go ahead.
One ship shows up and lands, and then you're like, it's a free for all. You know what? And I think doesn't Boba Fett also confess that he actually put a tracker on the Razor Crest, right?
I can't remember if he did or not.
So yeah, he said that he put a tracker on the Razor Crest, and then of course we know Moff Gideon had a tracker also put on the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Right? In this moment of the show, I suddenly started feeling that maybe Din Djarin is not as smart as he is a badass.
Yeah.
He's a real tough guy, but he doesn't seem to be the most brilliant guy. He had 2 trackers on his ship by 2 different parties and didn't know that they were there. Mm-hmm. And then he tries 3 times to go through the force bubble to go after Grogu. instead of just realizing I'm not getting through that thing.
So then that's when they made an agreement that they will protect the little guy and help him
In
out
exchange for the armor.
And he's like,
Right.
okay, deal. And so then he run up trying to get into the bubble, but he can't because the force power is too strong. And so the fight starts. And then so we're sitting there watching the fight. I'm sitting there watching the fight. You're watching at home. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have cowbells. No, I'm joking. Out of nowhere, you have Boba Fett just laying waste to any of these stormtroopers. Like
with a gaffy stick.
With a gaffy stick. It's like, pow! Necks are going flying. Like, it's supposed to be, is it PG? I can't remember. But necks are going flying. Helmets are getting breaking off. Like, honestly, that if this wasn't PG, I think there would have been like blood come squirting out.
It was a violent.
He was like
massacre.
on fire, stabbing people. He's doing everything, and I was sitting there going, "What the? Where was this Boba Fett?"
And did you feel like, also not just from this, but from other stuff that happens later on in the episode, I just kind of felt like he seems to have a hatred for the Empire right now.
Well, because they screwed him over, right? So
I'm guessing that maybe he was screwed over by the Empire. I mean, like, I never felt that he worked for the Empire before.
no,
That realistically Vader hired him in order to track down Luke Skywalker,
yeah,
but he really only agreed to it because he was also in the pursuit of trying to find his bounty for Jabba the Hutt, which
yeah,
was Han
Han
Solo. So I feel like that's why he was successful, because his Boba Fett, he's the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy.
Yeah,
But in this one, he seemed to have a motive going on more than just protecting the child. It was about smashing as many stormtroopers as he could.
well, he
was unstoppable. He was unstoppable.
like him and Mando, the Mandalorian and the assassin. Took them all out. They had to run away. Like, they literally run away. It was just so bad how he just took them out.
First, the first batch of stormtroopers that come, absolutely. So Boba Fett is going at them with the gaffy stick, and then he actually sees the open door to the Razor Crest, so he knows that his armor's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So he jets down to get the armor. At the same time that he's doing that, once again, Din Djarin is trying to get the child out of the force bubble.
Yeah.
But then Fennec Shand, the assassin, kicks in. Right. So this is where we get to see prime Robert Rodriguez moments, right? With the way he films gun battles.
Oh my God.
Like, right. So there's like sequences where she's like diving off the rocks, and she's using a sniper rifle. So like, this isn't, I don't think I've ever seen a rifle being used like this in a movie or a television show before.
No, it's like amazingly all the moves she's doing, and once again, Rodriguez, amazing director, and he's just the action scene with Boba Fett, with her. The only person that didn't really have a big action scene was Mando, but you know, he has his scenes once again.
The whole show is his action scene.
But I mean, once again, you're seeing the just shooting, and then one point she was stranded, like, and they brought this big ass gun and started shooting everywhere, and she came behind this big ass rock, and she's like, and the rock was shaking. So she decided to kick the rock all the way down and destroy the machine. But I mean,
because the shock trooper actually, I think he uses like the blaster cannon.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh, the stormtroopers have got to be the stupidest. Like, they're the reason the Empire lost. I will say, it's not the Ewoks.
No.
It was the fact that this was your front line.
Yeah.
Like, they're horrible.
Yeah, it was so bad. Like, it's
but just a crazy scene.
She did an amazing job. Once again, her acting.
She's awesome.
She's just a great fighter, and
that is Ming-Na Wen, actually. Well, she's like an amazing actor. She was
Mulan, original Mulan.
Mulan. She was the original Mulan, absolutely. But like, I think she was also. She was on Shield. She is just fantastic. Like, I was so happy to see her, because I've seen her in everything. Like, you'll be watching anything. You'll be watching an old episode of Friends, and she's probably there.
She was on ER too, actually.
She wasn't on Friends, but I'm just saying, like,
she was on ER.
Was she on? Yeah,
she was in ER.
She's always there. She's just like fantastic, and I think she's one of those people like Rosario Dawson that is like a secret geek, right? So like, they love these things and they're very geeky, so like, they want to do those things.
Yeah.
But to watch her in this episode, man, she was like, it was crazy to see. And I think actually we missed this. They kind of explained how she was alive too. Like
yeah, well, what happened?
I think,
Yeah,
that Boba Fett
cybernetics,
used.
because Boba Fett helped her because she got shot in the stomach, right? So he replaced her more stomach interns with some motors and stuff like that. So she was alive that way. But I honestly didn't think she was going to come back. I thought, and it was kind of like sitting back going, oh, they just waste her like that. It was just, she was here.
I felt like it was just establishing a connection because you saw Boba Fett's legs.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know.
Well,
we didn't know it was Boba Fett.
We didn't know at that time, but this was the season we finally found that out. But I mean, yeah, like, so I just thought that it was just sort of setting up that she has a connection, that there's someone else there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
like, she was still alive. I guess, you know what though? Once you've established
Yeah.
at the end of Revenge of the Sith that cybernetics can save you from being consumed by lava, yeah, you can pretty much use cybernetics to explain the comeback of everybody.
Well, it's kind of funny because after that, you see Boba Fett come running in with his armor on and just like decimating more of the stormtroopers. It was just like he comes in, boof, baff, beef, baff. I'm sounding like Batman and Robin there. Boof, baff. He was just like killing it. And
It was an iconic moment.
Oh,
Iconic.
it was so awesome. Like how well he did it, and it was just amazing. But the thing that caught me off guard on it, I think that the suit wasn't as fitting as it was when he was younger.
Dude is like, what, in his 50s, late 50s?
Yeah.
You know what? Like, I saw some stupid comments online too about him. Like, they were saying, "Oh, it's Boba Fett instead of Boba Fett." And
No,
then,
I wasn't saying that, but I mean,
No.
it's like we're old enough to know that once we get to a certain age, how much we work out, how much we diet, it's not going to be the same as when we're in our 20s or our 18 or 19. You know, we're old.
That said, though, it's Tamir Morrison, man. That guy would still kick my ass.
You think?
Like, oh, he's so, like, he was playing Aquaman's dad, and he was supposed to be just like this normal, everyday fisherman. And I'm looking at him going, whatever, that guy's tough. Like, he doesn't need anyone saving him. I think, like, he's still, it was Boba Fett. Like, I remember people making comments about Cobb Vanth in the first episode of the season where he was wearing the armor.
Yeah.
And how he looked awkward and the helmet didn't look right and stuff like that. And the way that it was made to look on Boba Fett is the helmet looked the way it was supposed to look.
Yeah.
But the real element was how much he moved like Jango Fett.
Oh yeah.
Like he was shooting without even looking. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. And then after he rips through everybody, he does his little twirl with the blaster the way Jango used to do it.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And then he drops it in. And oh my gosh, earlier before that, there's this whole, oh my gosh, I can't believe we skipped over all of the dialogue, because there's so much revelation in this episode where Boba Fett talks about his father.
Yeah.
And he says, he goes, "That armor belongs to me," right? And he says,
oh yeah, that line that his
right?
father
Exactly.
said in
And
Clone Wars.
And he goes, "Are you a Mandalorian?" And he goes, "I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe."
Oh!
it's just so good. And then
I completely forgot about that too.
Right. And then he talks about how and he goes, "Well, you know, was you," like later on, I think after this whole battle, he says, "Was your father a Mandalorian?" And he goes, "My father," it was that someone turned the armor over to him.
Yeah.
And then
But we found out at the end we found out
it went over to him, right?
Yeah, so
like
what happened is that his arm he got the armor because he was his father was a foundling. So we found the armor because his father was a foundling, and just like Django. So then he got the armor from his father, and he painted it was different. He painted the color different of the armor because it was bluish white.
I was never. It was funny because I was talking about this afterwards. Like, I was never convinced that was the same armor that Jango Fett had worn.
That's
until
me too.
now.
Until now.
But yeah, and it's just worn down. Like, the color was faded and everything, and it looked more green and yellow. And
yeah, because you have
maybe even he changed the color. He could have repainted it or something.
That's what I was thinking, because he also, because when he went to his wrist, he saw everything that, like, the history of the armor, and once again, it's from his father who got it because he was a foundling. And so he was a true Mandalorian too. The ones that could take his helmets off. And it's just good to see that part. It was just amazing. So now as the battle goes on, the stormtroopers got whooped some more. They took off. So then all of a sudden you saw these lasers out of the sky, and guess what?
The Empire has shown.
No, the Empire showing up, but Mando's ship got destroyed.
Oh, that's right. Before you even see the ship,
Yeah.
a red blaster light comes from the sky and destroys the Razor Crest, which I'm sure will be fully repaired and ready to go in 5 episodes.
Really?
Because let's be honest, man, it was a see-through vessel, and it was like falling apart, and they managed to put it together in 1 day. So I mean, I don't know, like, I think it's gone now for sure.
I think he's gonna take over Slave One.
It was the moment. I was going to start off our podcast by saying, we had a death on this episode because the Razor Crest died.
Yeah,
but
it's once again, it's just so awesome. Like how they did this. He's like, strike him now, and he destroyed the ship, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on? What's going to happen? And then we saw it. It came true. They put it into canon now. We have
Dark Troopers.
Now, where did the Dark Troopers come from? Was it from the game, or
they were in a game? I think they were also mentioned maybe in books. These are different though. Like, they looked exactly the way the Dark Troopers looked.
Yeah.
My first exposure to the Dark Troopers was via action figure. I think they had like these Legends of the Force or something action figures that were released at some point, and then I remember seeing a Dark Trooper in there, and I thought, oh my god, that's a badass looking trooper.
Yeah.
But these were like droids. They were exactly the same as far as how they looked, but they were not people. They were machines, and they kind of had a bit more of a resemblance of the battle droids, the main battle droids.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to help Din Djarin's viewpoint of droids anymore.
Well, no. And then the question is, are they force sensitive?
Well, not if they're droids. I mean, I can't. That's the thing. Like, remember we were talking about different theories of what was going on.
Yeah.
I think this may negate the idea of force sensitive troopers. I think the Dark Troopers are more like droids, and then which then maybe goes back to what your original theory was. I think you might be right that what they're trying to do is actually use the child. They're trying to use Grogu in order to clone Snoke or something to that effect,
or even the Emperor. In that effects too. Now, once again, after that, they're fighting. The ship got blown up. They told Boba Fett to run to the slave to make sure that the ship doesn't get blown up. So he got into it, took off, and then
first Boba Fett actually was pursuing the Dark Troopers.
Yeah,
he was going to take a. Oh, you know what we missed? One of the greatest moments in the episode is when Boba Fett fires the rocket from his backpack and ends up taking down both ships.
And he
takes down the one ship and it crashes into the other one. Yeah.
And then Mandalorian's like, "Oh, good shot with the ship there." He's like, "I was aiming for the other one."
It's so cool.
But yes, so then he went back to the ship. He took off. Try to chase he was going to shoot the droids down, but then Mando said no, he doesn't want to hurt the baby, and they got Baby Yoda. Yes, right. Baby Yoda is now.
The child has been taken, right? And a lot of people were depressed. I remember actually I was checking out some things in social media, and some people were like, "Oh, like this is a very depressing episode." And I said, "How is this depressing?" Moff Gideon just sealed his fate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what he was thinking, but if you steal someone's kid and their parent is the Mandalorian and he's got the friends that he has, you're done. I think that was a stupid mistake. I don't know why he took that.
Like, once again, the episodes that we're getting from this season, I have to say, there's not one episode I did not think it's a best episode.
I know. I agree.
It's so scary that they actually the thought they put into season 2. I honestly I don't have a best. Like, I don't really have a best episode because they're all really good. Even this one right now, the action scenes alone were amazing.
So good.
I just can't give it. Okay, so he's taken Baby Yoda, and right. Baby Yoda is now in the ship. And
before we get there, we have a very pivotal moment where
go ahead.
There's some conversation between Fennec Shand, Boba Fett, and Din Djarin, where we now have established where he says, Boba Fett steps forward and he pulls up something on the gauntlet, like the glove of his armor, and he says, "I have something to show you." Like, I think it's interesting because at some point Boba Fett says, I don't follow anybody's creed. I don't follow anyone's ideology. Like, I am my own person, right?
Yeah.
But he respects what Din Djarin is saying, that, like the Mandalorian code prevents me from turning over this armor unless you're a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And so he comes over and he pulls up the genetic code. He goes, you'll see, this is my DNA code. This is me. This is Boba Fett. This is my armor. Right. And then he goes, and this was my father's genetic code. This is Jango Fett. This was his armor. And I think that's the moment where he realized he was a foundling. And then finally, Din Djarin agrees, you can take the armor. And he goes, you've achieved your mission. And then he says, no, I haven't achieved my mission. The mission was that if you gave me the armor, we would protect the baby. We would protect the child. The child's not safe until we get him back. So in that moment, how did you not get chills? Where you're like, I'm sorry, Boba Fett is working for you? Like, that is like the moment where you're just going, okay.
Well, but, I never,
real.
once again, it goes back to my theory about Boba Fett being, drunk, spicy Boba Fett. I just never thought that they hear that from him. Like, he was mostly all about the money. I guess it was similar to Mando himself. Like, it's just, he was all about getting that money, and now he's there with honor. Now he says now.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we know how expensive Beskar is, and people will kill you for it, right?
Yeah.
But we did miss the line that you want to talk about. It was like when he was flying into the sky, and he goes through the clouds, and he finally sees the Imperial cruiser.
Yeah.
That's when he turns. He
turns
back to Fennec
back.
Shan, and he's like, "They're back." And she goes, "Who?" And he says, "The Empire." And then she goes, "That's not possible. Like, they're not allowed to come out to the Outer Rims. That's New Republic jurisdiction or something." And he says, "No, this is not a spice dream. I am seeing it." So I see what you're saying. Like, like maybe he's had a relationship with Fennec Shan for quite some time, and she helped get him off the drugs back in the day. I don't know. Maybe you're right. That could be a possible storyline.
But okay, so that
like leaving Las Vegas, only this time it worked out for everybody.
All right, so though after that we got back up to the ship there where that Baby Yoda's on. He had the Emerald, had some discussion with his crewmates, and then he says, "I'm going to check out the baby." So he went off to look at the baby Yoda. And when he gets to Baby Yoda, you see Baby Yoda just like taking his force power and throwing the stormtroopers around like rag dolls. Like literally rag dolls. And he's like choking them, doing everything. Just like, and then he's sitting back and the guards were going to stop Baby Yoda. He's like, wait. And he saw that the Baby Yoda's throwing everyone, and he's like, okay. And he's like, the baby got really tired because after using his powers, he got tired. Now, this brought up a story that I was telling you this morning.
Sure.
Where I felt that it's a trade for the the Yoda species.
I think you're right.
That's what I think.
I've been thinking about it all day after you mentioned it to me too, because like I think you're right. The idea that that particular species, because like we've never seen anyone else do that.
No.
Like we watched Rey pulling a ship back, and at no point did she collapse out of exhaustion afterwards.
No.
But yet we saw Yoda where after he fought Dooku, he looked tired. After he fought the Emperor, he looked exhausted and worn down.
Yeah.
And then of course we're watching this child where every time he does something with the Force that's a little bit bigger than moving the little metal ball.
Yeah.
He collapses out of exhaustion, and I think you're right. There's a little reveal about that particular species, how they're extremely powerful, but only in short bursts.
Well, you can also look at it when Luke was trying to bring up the his X-wing in the swamps. He wasn't tired. He just couldn't do it. And then Yoda had to do it, and you see Yoda seemed tired, like he had to go to
didn't
bed.
Collapse in exhaustion there,
but he had to go. I think he walked him back to his
right
to his cabin to get some sleep.
What a great moment that was! Like where Luke says, "I don't believe it," and he goes, "That is why you fail."
Now, once again, so he's doing that, throwing it around, and it's so funny, so cute. And this is where Dave theory might come in handy. Where the
I knew this was going to happen because like Malcolm X, I remember this one scene where like this one moment in history where this woman said, she told Malcolm X, like, I agree with some of the things you said, but I don't agree with all of the things you said. And then Malcolm X said to her, "You will one day, sister. One day you will." this is my moment. This is where you told me I was ridiculous for my theory, and I know where you're going here. And now you can say I was right. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna say you're right. As I was saying, so there's one scene where he's fighting off the guards and he's getting really tired, and all of a sudden he released the general came in and he had the black lifesaver, right? The dark lifesaver.
The dark saber.
Dark saber. And he opens it up and he's like, hey, see, if you were strong enough, you can use it. And you see he was trying to reach for the lifesaver. The pillow, he's like, oh, none of that now. None of that now. You're tired now. He's just like, I'm like, oh my God. But I can see that he could go the dark side, Baby Yoda, because they kind of hinted on it with Ahsoka, and they kind of hit it here with him choking these guards, trying to kill the guards more or less that are keeping him. So I do give it to Dave. He might be right. Don't let it go to your head, buddy.
I think it's not even just that the idea that Grogu might turn to the dark side, that maybe Grogu has been trained in the dark side. Right? Like it is like, I honestly, there was only one light side Force user, I think, in Star Wars that we saw choke somebody with the Force, and that was Luke against the Gamorrean guards when he went into Jabba's palace.
That's so true, yes.
But I'm not convinced that he killed them. You know what I mean? Like he kind of choked them out. They collapsed because they're the worst fighters in the world. Yeah. And then he moved forward. But then with this one though, like the child seems to have almost an apathetic, like a non-emotional approach to things. Like he seems almost distant from feeling anything. Yeah. And the way he was killing those stormtroopers was pretty crazy. And I think, and then Moff Gideon says, they would like stop the child, and then Moff Gideon's like, no, wait, let's watch. It's like, and he seems familiar with this child, like more than just what we saw in the first season of the show, where and remember, Ahsoka said that whoever took the baby from the Jedi Temple, the rest of his memories are very dark. So I know a lot of people have this theory that it was a Jedi that took him from the temple, but I do not. I think that he was taken by someone very bad. And I honestly think we ran a poll actually with different options on Twitter, and I think, and a lot of people are agreeing, I think Darth Vader may have been the one to take that child from the temple. Well,
it's going to be interesting to see what happened next. So after we got the whole blowing up and the whole Baby Yoda is now stuck on that ship because he's off to get experimented on. You have Boba Fett swearing to be his what you were saying before.
He's indebted
to him.
Right.
So they said, let's get to Slave One. I have to go somewhere else. So they went back to the same planet that he was on before, and he talked to.
That's right. He goes back to Navarro.
Yeah.
And he actually goes to see Cara Dune.
Yeah.
Where we find out. We didn't even know what that badge was for. So like, when Captain Carson Teva. Yeah. I believe his name was, gave her the badge. We didn't really know what that was for. We thought he was asking her to come back to the Republic military. Yeah. But what it was apparently is a New Republic Marshal badge. Yeah. So she is an official marshal of that town, not just in declaration, but she is recognized by the New Republic as the marshal of that town. So, and then. Right. So then Din Djarin comes and asks her for help. Yeah. And the help that he asks for is to find someone in the criminal registrar.
And she was kind of at first she was kind of like, and then he said that the baby is missing. She's like, all right, let's do this. And
that kid has family. Yeah. That kid has good family.
So he went looking for the one person that he starred with in it was last season too, actually, wasn't it?
Yep, first season, Mayfield.
Yeah, it was first season. Mayfield
played by one of the best stand-up comedians going today, Bill Burr. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was just awesome to see him coming back. So because they're going to use him to try to find Baby Yoda. I'm thinking about maybe breaking into wherever they need to break into to get the Baby Yoda at. So that was when the ending of the Mandalorian, and I was kind of wrong for last week's picks.
I think everybody.
I thought it was going to be you see the Jedi right away, but no, it didn't happen.
But he did finish that. He did finish reaching out. So I was wrong. I didn't think he was going to reach out at all. I thought that it would be anticlimactic and that he would choose to stay with Din Djarin.
Yeah.
But no, he did reach out, and he finished whatever it was, whatever he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So someone's probably going to be coming. I don't know.
Mace Windu.
Who knows? I mean, they could have rebuilt him with cybernetics now too. But
Yeah.
I mean, like there is this show is getting bigger than it was before. This was only 32 minutes long. I think this episode 33
But
minutes long.
I heard the last episode was supposed to be a little bit longer.
Right, but it was amazing what Jon Favreau, who wrote the episode, and Robert Rodriguez, who directed the episode, were able to pull off in a 33-minute interval. That's for sure.
No, they did a really good job. I was once again, it was like this season. There's no episode I did not like.
No,
Like
I would say this episode was at least as good as the last one.
Oh yeah, probably even better with the action.
So, just a quick question: are you a little skeptical of Boba Fett?
Once again, I think he's off the spice.
Because like I feel like, as much as I understand, Django did believe in an honor code, and I remember episodes of Clone Wars where he was kind of being coerced by Aurra Singh to think nasty thoughts, and then Hondo Onaka was saying, look, I knew your father, like he would want you to be an honorable man too.
Yeah.
So I mean, and like, remember he was going to kill Mace Windu, and then he chose not to do it. Like there's a lot of conflict as far as whether or not Boba goes full evil, or whether or not he's a good honorable warrior.
Yeah.
But it is Boba Fett, right? Like I love the character. Everyone has loved the character. This is the first time we get to see Boba Fett as a pure badass, where we all wanted him to be, because we loved how he looked, we loved how he sounded, his lines were cool, and so everyone kind of grew up loving Boba Fett, you know, as long as they didn't accidentally fire the rocket from the action figure into your throat, and then if you were lucky enough to get one of those earlier ones.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm still a little skeptical, just because Fennec Shand is like a hardcore criminal.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett was the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy, and if Din Djarin has kind of taken his title, that is one thing. But they established that he was on Tatooine for 5 years looking for his armor. And he does not look like he looks like he's been through some major battles.
Yeah.
Do you think that was scarring on his face from the Sarlacc pit?
It could be from the Starlight Pit. It could be from the battle happening before. Now, let's get into the wrap up of the show. What do you think about for the next week's episode? That's episode 7. I think they have, after this is one more after this, and we're
there's 2
done.
episodes left in the show.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like I shouldn't even predict anything anymore. I've been wrong over everything. The only thing I think last episode we talked about this one, and we thought that we brought up the fact that there had been trackers or tracers put on his ship.
Yeah.
And that the Empire could show up, and they did. That was the only thing that we successfully predicted. The show is going in such a direction where it's always entertaining, it's always interesting, it's always fascinating, and none of us are right about anything. So I mean, and you know what? That's the way it should be. I know a lot of fans get upset when their fan theories don't pan out.
Yeah.
But I want it that way. I remember I went and saw a movie once. I'm not going to tell you what movie it is because I'm embarrassed to tell you what the movie was.
It was Snow White.
It wasn't Snow White, but there was a movie we went and saw, and I had read the book for the film, and it was so accurate to the book that I was bored out of my mind. And I remember, like, I left to go to the washroom, and I came back, and I said to my wife, and I'm like, did this scene happen? And she goes, yeah, like shot for shot, exactly the same as the book.
Yeah.
Like, and we were both just so bored. Like it's like, I know people complain if, say, a comic book isn't translated properly to film, or when a novel isn't translated properly, but I prefer it that way. I want to see something different, and this show does that. Like, it establishes that they're kind of explaining old things that we had questions about. They're giving new rules, like how there's different sections of the Mandalorian code, and like there's different people, there's different creeds, there's different clans, and they all have their own different ideologies and different philosophies. And so, like, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, this show is still, like, some people were like, oh, I want Ahsoka back, but this is not the Jedi, this is the Mandalorian. Like, this is
I think she's gonna have her own. So I think they are gonna do spin-off with this.
And
this
I
series.
will so watch that.
And I think
would so watch that.
I think it's gonna be like it's gonna be like a Marvel thing where after they get the spin-off, they're gonna have to come together to do something. Now the question is, who's gonna be the big battle of who's gonna be the big boss that they all have to fight? And I think it's gonna be Thrawn.
This season, I can't. I think this season, the finale, is going to be Din Djarin using the Beskar spear to fight the Darksaber and fight Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
I think, and then I think maybe they have opened themselves up to have Thrawn become the major villain going into next season.
Yeah, season 4 or season 3. Sorry.
I will say that I will predict, but as far as where everything goes or how it turns out, I really just have no idea anymore, and I'm just enjoying the ride instead of predicting.
All right, so I'm predicting that he's gonna, for the next episode, it's gonna be him trying to get a group together to go after him, and we're gonna see all the past people he meet for this year and probably for next year. Last year,
you figure it'll be Mayfield, it'll be Boba Fett, it'll be Fett,
yeah,
it'll be Cara Dune,
yeah, and more.
You think Grief Karga's joining?
I think,
well?
I think the other Mandalorians they had before is going to join too. I think it's going to be
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan's going to join too because she needs that black lightsaber back. So the dark saber.
Saying, remember last season too, the second last episode, the whole group came together.
Yeah,
and then finished in the final episode. That's right. Like I could see that. Like that would be very, very cool to watch.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm sticking with. And so we want to know your opinion. Feel free to drop your comments in the bottom of the YouTube page that we have right here, right now, or you can follow us. Where else can they follow us?
You can actually get us on Twitter at Hoth Podcast,
and you can follow us on Instagram at Destination Hoth. No podcast, just Destination Hoth. On Instagram, you can follow us. You can see, so you can send us some suggestions for some shows. You can also message us and just say you like us and we're nice guys. You can also follow if you have now. This is what I want to start off with now. Since we got this now, we do have our own Gmail, and we would love to get your comments about the show. So if you have any ideas or any comments that we need, you can find us at, hold on a second. It's going to be destinationhoth@gmail.com. You can send us your opinions if you agree with Dave or if you disagree with Dave. I always do disagree with Dave. Once again, feel free to send that in to us at destinationhoth@gmail.com. And we'll love to hear from you. And you can also follow us on Twitter. Once again, that is
Hoth Podcast.
All right. But once again, I want to thank you for tuning into Destination Hoth. I want to thank all our listeners out there. Now, once again, don't feel free to subscribe to the channel to get more of this. The more people subscribe to our channel, the more we will love to do more of these on a weekly basis as we're doing right now, but maybe 2 or 3 more if possible. But once again, we want you to tell your friends about, subscribe to us, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. Once again, this is Destination Hoth with 2 old guys from Canada. It's your source for your Star Wars info. Once again, have a great weekend, or have a great day, or have a great week, whenever you're listening to this. Enjoy. Thank you for sitting down with us. This is your man Daddy Rich saying peace out. And what are you saying, Jedi Dave?
Be good to each other.
Be good to each other. Yes, be good to each other. All right. Well, thank you very much. And big shouts out to our band for the song. And the band was
Critical Hit,
and the track is called Riding the Dinosaur. I'm sorry, Riding the D. Hold it down. But once again, thank you for sitting down with us, and we'll see you back here next week with part 7 of Mandalorian and lots more to talk about. Now, quick thing, just to remind you, after Mandalorian's going to be done, we are going to touch on some other stuff in Star Wars too. We surprised me to talk about OJ.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's oh my gosh. So do you want to just do the quickly?
All right, you can do a little OJ quickly. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. All right, so Daddy Rich sends me this video of an old interview with OJ Simpson.
Yeah.
Where he is outlining a certain segment in the book where the murders happen.
Yeah.
And this dude just basically confesses the fact that he killed his wife and her friend. I'm like just mouth gaping while watching this whole thing. I was shocked.
It was kind of funny because it was. It was like maybe like 5 years back when he released the book, say, if I have done the murder, this is how I would have done it. And even
Which
then,
is just distasteful.
I know, we just lost all that. And then he did an interview with this journalist for Fox. And so what happened is that before the book came out, he got sued by the who was the party? Well, he got sued for the book.
Oh, the Brown and Coleman family.
Yeah, they sued him, and they got
Goldman.
They got the book right, and they got the video of his interview right. So they now are just releasing this information right now of him sitting there going, "If
Laughing.
I
Dude
did
was
do
laughing.
it, I would have did it with a knife. I had a glove on, and all that stuff." So it was. Do we think it's right? No.
I've never seen anyone look more guilty in my life. Like
It's so hard. Like I thought, like the old saying, like when Bill Cosby was getting charged for all those different rapes that he did, you're like, oh, it's only 2 people. Nah, not really. I don't see anything.
Well, I never said it was only.
Oh well,
2
you know what I mean. Like it's
Yeah,
just, it's like you kind of have that second guessing that is it real or is not. And then after 50 women come through, then you're like, but now with this whole book, I remember, I think I said this to you when the book was about to come out. I think I said that this man is crazy. I think he actually did do it. So,
oh my gosh, he is more than awful. He's just awful.
Yeah. So,
of course, based on the 2016 results, maybe OJ should run for president. They vote for that kind of guy,
All right, so that is our opinion from OJ Simpson. Once again, thank you for sitting down with us. As the Jedi Dave always say, may the Force be with you. And we'll be back here next week with the Season 7 review of Mandalorian. Have a great, once again, night, evening, weekend, whatever, weekday, morning, whatever you're doing. Have a great time doing it, and be respectful and be kind to everyone. All right? Do you have anything else to say?
Nope. That's it.
All right, thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
The Nick Winter Show, and I do the entertaining. Thank you. Let's go out with something really hot for these folks. A big hit out of '77. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.